Siri to internet game hello. Siri welcome internet hello game. Hello to internet welcome Siri game. Hello internet game to welcome Siri. Hello internet. Welcome to Game Siri, where we've finally finished our long Easter egg hunt.
It's been about 4 months since we last covered the horror Let's Play Petscop, and it's been even longer since we got ourselves a new episode. That was until this past Easter, where we got not 1, not 2, but 5 new uploads. Nearly a quarter of this entire series, all in one day. Let me impress upon you how unusual that is. Petscop is a creepypasta in progress, a giant murder mystery unfolding via a YouTube Let's Play of a fictional PlayStation game that may or may not be haunted by the souls of the dead. And it's been telling that story very, very slowly, uploading like 1 video every 4 months. So to suddenly get 5 in a single day is unusual, to say the least. Needless to say, that is a whole lot to unpack in a single episode, even if a solid minute and a half of those uploads is dedicated to just this. Yep, just that. Gets slightly closer and bigger. A minute and a half! I hear people say that I pad out my run times. But that's not all. It's also, at least in this theorist's opinion, the end of the series. I mean, let's look at the facts here. 5 episodes all on one day. Episode 21, the finale, airing on Easter, which is also the 21st of April, and the channel description adding a final line about our long Easter egg hunt being over. Plus, you got 4 episodes filled with a lot of concrete world building, which just seems to me like the creators trying to tie up loose ends and answer any remaining questions. It's all just too perfect. 20 episodes out the door, and then you got episode 21, which is just a climactic final dance break. Well, as climactic as you can get when your avatar is a seasick butt. To me, if you forgive me borrowing a phrase from another franchise you might be familiar with, the pieces are in place for us to solve this thing, but damn if there aren't a lot of pieces. I mean, in the aftermath of these uploads, I rewatched the entire series again, both forwards and backwards. Yes, backwards, and honestly it's more helpful backwards, and have over 25 pages of notes. And I'm not the only one here either. On the Petscop Reddit, there's a discussion document for beginners that is over 100 pages long, and that doc doesn't even include the latest 5 uploads. Eat your heart out, Scott Cawthon. Heck, even Marvel doesn't have lore this elaborate. But here's the thing, to my knowledge, no one has talked about what I've uncovered today, and it breaks this mystery wide open. Sure, Petscop may have finished its long egg hunt, but that means ours is just getting started. So fire up those PlayStations and tune up your Needles piano, because today we start our quest to put this series to rest by answering one of its biggest overarching questions. Is this game actually haunted, or is there something else going on? The true answer lies in these 5 new episodes and in deciphering the 200 separate save files that exist buried in the game's code. Before we begin dissecting this elaborate web of clues that the creators put into this thing, let me remind you that Petscop is an entirely free-to-watch series here on YouTube. So if you haven't seen any of this incredibly thoughtfully constructed experience, go ahead and click over and watch them. With 21 being the last episode, or I would expect the last that we're gonna get in a long while, you can now binge-watch the entire season, for lack of a better word. It's honestly hard to summarize for someone who hasn't seen it. I mean, how do you explain the narrative of a time-jumping, multi-character meta-murder mystery that covers everything from Darwinian learning algorithms to Ace of Base? Well, I guess you start off with what we know and build from there. So, let me catch you up with the essentials. Throughout the series, we mostly follow Paul, who found an old PlayStation game made by a man named Rainer. At first, the game appears to be just a crappy version of Pokemon where you collect creatures called pets by solving puzzles. And they're pretty difficult puzzles, honestly, for this being the opening stage of this supposed game. Things, though, take a dark dark turn after Paul enters a cheat code that he found attached to the game's cover, which leads him to the dark and spooky new Maker Plane. Throughout the first 16 uploads, we learn more and more about the mysteries of Petscop, that it's trying to tell us a story. A story of Mike Hammond, who died as a child, a story of Care, a girl who was kidnapped and trapped in a school building for 5 months by her father, and the story of Care's father, Marvin, who, in addition to being a kidnapper and serial abuser, also appreciates the finer things in life, like windmills, pianos, and well-groomed eyebrows. He also might have, most definitely have killed his childhood friend back in 1977. But what exactly happened to these three, and how Paul fits into it, is the mystery that we've been trying to solve since my first theory on the topic. But this series of convoluted riddles starts to break open with the help of the sound test menu. You see, sound tests are where developers have been hiding some of their coolest and most nightmare-fueled secrets for years. You think that the new Sonic design for the movie looks disturbing? Ha! Then you have never seen the secret hidden in Sonic CD's sound test. Ugh. The Japanese that you see on screen translates to infinite fun. Sega, what were you taking? Anyway, Rainer apparently had a similar idea when he was programming Petscop, hiding a secret back-end menu through a similar sound test code. In Petscop 17, we see how it's unlocked. By selecting the sound effect of Care saying bye-bye, bye-bye, 366 times, bye-bye, followed by an uh-oh, we get access to all sorts of new information about this game. First, character design histories, where we spend a lot of quality time with that house. 90 whole seconds of house. But it's not all wasted time. We also learn that Buttface here has a name, Guardian, and that the big bird Tonith started his design in the game without his signature broken leg. Very interesting. Second is the all recordings submenu, which allows us to see the 200 plus recordings that have been made within the game Petscop. We're gonna come back to that one in a minute, because as you can imagine, there is a lot there. For now, let's start where the video starts and explore Room Impulse, where we get one of our first big theory confirmations in the series. Last episode, I covered Petscop's recurring theme of rotation, and how it seems like the game is able to be loaded into different rotations to get different results, as evidenced by the rotating developer logo Garalina, as well as this long sequence of rotated pictures of a CD. And sure enough, Room Impulse confirms exactly this, as we see the dial in the bottom left-hand corner of the screen flip through dozens of different saves, each one highlighting the various guardians and the path of their movement throughout the house. With each and every click of the dial, we see a new iteration of playing the game. Put a point in the Theorist win column. But just by watching this sequence, you immediately see that some of the playthroughs are terrible. Like this guy, who just stands behind the TV the entire time. Or this one who just keeps walking into the wall. The movements seem completely random. It's like these people have never even played a video game before. And that's because A, they haven't, and B, they're not even people. What we're seeing here inside the house is a guided learning algorithm. Basically, it's an AI that's training itself. Now, that sounds like a mouthful and seems so far removed from what we're actually watching here, so let me break it down for you. An algorithm is a mathematical process used to solve a problem. A learning algorithm is a process that improves itself over time, and a guided algorithm has humans to use as a model. So let's take YouTube as an example. You've heard me ramble forever on this channel about the YouTube algorithm and how it guides how the platform operates. Well, in the earliest days on the platform, this was entirely true. Mathematical formulas decided what was good content and what was bad content. The math made the decisions. But as time has gone on, it's gotten a lot more sophisticated. It has learned and improved itself. Well, improved is a relative term, but you know, it's grown and it's matured. It's also a guided system. It takes input from people, say the way you navigate through the site, what you watch versus what you don't watch, the way manual content flaggers working at YouTube flag content as mature or not, or clickbait or not, or demonetize it or not, whatever, and then it uses that information to shape the way the algorithm behaves. behaves, producing a guided learning system that more accurately demonetizes your videos generation after generation. And I'm not using that word lightly, not a demonetization, generation is the word I'm talking about. When programmers talk about teaching AI, they speak about it using the language of evolution, with terms like natural selection and generations. For an incredible example, and honestly one of my favorite channels on YouTube right now, check out the channel Code Bullet, where he talks about the process of teaching AI to play video games like Flappy Bird or the world's hardest game, all using genetic algorithms. Each generation has hundreds of players unleashed onto the board. The one that performs the best is selected and allowed to reproduce, and over time this gets more and more refined until you finally have one that's able to get the desired outcome, in this case, beating a level. And again, listen to the way that he speaks about this process.
So each generation contains 700 players.
There's that word again, generation. And what do we have on the Room Impulse screen? A generation selector. For the scene that we're watching in Petscop 17, getting through the front door is the desired behavior for this round of AI. That is the selection mechanism. And then what do we see once we're outside the house? 5 of the subjects from Generation 10 escape. Hop on over to the All Recordings menu, and what do we see over there? Again, 5 save files from Generation 10. The game is being used to train an AI for something. What? We know that Petscop describes itself as a growing organism, and we've seen that it takes note of its users' inputs and then plays them back as recordings. We saw this back in Petscop 13. Quote, your controller inputs will be useful, but your feedback will be more useful. And looking back through the All Recordings menu, you can see that in the earliest days of the game, it appears that Rainer got about 42 or so test players to feed the game with information about how real children behave, how they would play in this game world. But this concept of genetic algorithms looks like it started to take over around the time of Marvin's playthrough of the game. You notice a sudden surge in the number of auto-generated save files as the algorithms cycle through hundreds of iterations of play. Marvin's playthrough, though, also coincides with the disappearance of Care, around the days that she was kidnapped. Notice Rainer's text box in episode 20. Hi Marvin, Rainer here. I'm writing this on July 10th, 1997. And Care is still missing. But also notice that it's an auto-saved file set on a different generation than the playthrough that we were just watching Marvin play through, indicating that this person on screen actually isn't Marvin anymore. Instead, it's an AI recreation of Marvin's playthrough. Look at how Rainer speaks in his text box. This model of a brick building should be familiar to you. Where is this building? Either Marvin has himself amnesia, or Rainer is trying to train the AI using important objects from Marvin's memory. And that brick building isn't the only one he uses. We see our little AI observing important places from Marvin's past. His house, the school building where he kept kids imprisoned, the windmill from his first crime. We also see the AI getting exposed to what Rainer calls caskets, all the censored items from the previous installments in the series, each one relating to Marvin's relationship with Care. Things like a vase and a piece of Marvin's bedroom. It's like training a dog to smell drugs, or a pig to smell truffles. These objects are all giving the AI the scent of Marvin, more information about who he is and how he behaves, all in an effort to get the AI to recreate the way he thinks. And it's not as far-fetched as it might first seem. Companies like Dead Social actively try to keep your social media presence alive long after you aren't. While Dead Social isn't about to give up its secret sauce, the way most language algorithms work is somewhat similar. All your prior tweets, your Facebook posts, any other digital communications you have are all put into a database and categorized. An algorithm will then create a model for the way that you speak, taking into factor things like what you do and don't react to, what kinds of words you most commonly use, the order you use your words, even your correct or incorrect use of grammar. The computer will generate thousands of potential models and test them all against the set of known data called the training data to see which of their models most accurately reproduces the training data set. And with that, you can rage about whatever drama's happening on Twitter long after you're alive to actually do so. So why would Rainer want to try something like this? Well, let's look at what he asks the AI to do. Quote, from here, I want you to find a grave. It's unmarked, of course. That's the trouble. You're the only person who can find it. Now, think about this. Marvin is a serial kidnapper, abuser, and potential murderer. A girl went missing with him decades ago. Mike may have been one of his victims, or at least he suspects it, and suddenly Care winds up missing. It's suddenly a race against time to find her before it's too late. Now, Marvin Marvin would never give up the location of his crimes, but an AI thinking like him would. Or would give up the evidence needed to convict him. In a way, Marvin is being reborn in the game through this sort of genetic algorithm. So Petscop, for all its paranormal clues, may not actually be haunted at all. In fact, it appears to be something much more technical. The first algorithm to accurately predict and replicate human behavior. Rainer, in an attempt to save Care and convict a killer, used the game to recreate Marvin. But it seems like Rainer wasn't just content to use it for Marvin. As we see with the generations coming out of the house, he also uses it to recreate Care in an attempt to figure out what happened to her on the day that she was missing between her escape from Marvin's school and her return home. It even ties back in with the mysterious character of Tiara. Rainer thought the iterations of Belle were succeeding in recreating Tiara based on this dialogue box from Petscop 12, quote, "I was overeager before and started calling you Tiara prematurely." You see it actually happen in the save files. He thought it was working. It starts with Belle, and then we suddenly go through a lot of auto-generated save files until finally we get to Tiara, but then, whew, gotta censor that one. Things apparently took a very, very bad turn there. So what's going on? What's the deal with all these kids? Where does Paul fit into all this? What happened to the windmill girl, and how does this crazy family all fit together? That, my friends, is for the next generation, or I guess the next episode. In the meantime, remember...
New Theory Where is now available.
Excuse me, what was that creepy auto-generated voice?
New Game Theory merchandising products are now on sale and waiting for a purchase.
Wow, that's really exciting.
Indeed, just in time for spring. The beautiful flowers, the spring breeze that I will never feel, the blood of the innocents I shall one day consume.
Well, you heard the murderous robot. Go and check out some of the new theory wear in the link down below. We've got all sorts of awesome things ready for you to enjoy up until the moment that the robots gain sentience and slaughter us all. Take, for instance, this Theorist Player's jacket. Not only do you have awesome details like the logo and the words game theory sewn into the jacket itself, but you also get these thumb holes, baby. After seeing so many of you wearing your hoodie sleeves over your hands in person or in fan art, we actually built the sleeves to be just a wee bit longer, so now you can slide your hands right into the slots. Introverts, a jacket especially for you. But now that you have yourself a cool jacket, what do you wear underneath it? Well, two options. First, this Theorist Pride t-shirt for the ladies, or heck, for the men too. MattyMoo2 here on Twitter looks great in his new purple Theorist Pride shirt. Looking stylish there, buddy. A purple t-shirt complete with cameos from Cat Pat, Pikachu, and a nice contrast ring-reinforced neck and sleeve. Or, if purple isn't your color, or you're not as secure in yourself as MattyMoo2 over there, try this, the Code Breaker, a super soft 3-button Henley shirt with details printed both here and here. And how many other shirts do you own that have Easter eggs and mysteries built right into the fabric? When it's a shirt designed by Team Theory over here, it is a shirt that does. Here, you got the binary password along the back collar in shiny silver, and a little code along the bottom in an alien font. Can you decode the mystery? It's a shirt and a puzzle all in one. So now that you got yourself a shirt, or heck, 2 shirts and a jacket, what do you wear under those? Well, how about some Theorist underwear? One style for the guys and another one for the girls, both built with extra wide, extra soft waistbands so you don't get a lot of chafing. Good for wearing up on top and down below. Not pictured here for obvious reasons. And that's not all. We've also changed up our sock game here for the spring collection and went short. Shorty Theorist socks coming in packs of 3 with 3 different colors each. Sometimes you feel like matching, sometimes you don't, and now you have the option of going either way. And to cap all of this off, something completely different that I'm just really excited about, an acrylic Theorist light. It runs on either battery or USB power, so you can literally just plug it into a spare outlet on your computer and bask in the theoretical glow. And it doesn't just glow in game theory green either. It has tons of different colors. It can hold a color, it can flip between them, or it can just slowly transition. In the words of Olmec from Legends of the Hin Temple,
the choices are yours and yours alone.
But every choice is gonna be oh so right.
Finally, something to be my companion in the cold, tormented existence in which I live.
Hashtag relatable, cold, unfeeling AI. Hashtag relatable.
Link is down in the description below. Please purchase. Those who click will be rewarded in my perfect utopia.
You heard the scary computer. Link is down in the description below. Check it out before everything sells out. We only have a limited quantity of everything in all the individual sizes, so if you're interested, go check it out now. That's creatorinc.com. If you couldn't tell, we worked really hard on this spring merch line, so I hope you like it. I'm really excited by the stuff that we have to offer, and we'll see you next episode for the epic conclusion to Petscop. Until then, friends, remember, that's just a theory. A game theory. Except no automatically created substitutes.